Welcome to Ham Jams. You just heard the amazing music of Marika Takeuchi. And Marika is with us today, so thank you for joining us on Ham Jams.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me.
You play the most beautiful music.
Oh, thank you.
What inspires you to, well, let's start from way back. What inspired you to your love of music?
Oh, I started playing piano when I was 3. And I also played violin, French horn, and Japanese taiko. And I was always into music. And then I fell in love with writing music when I was 19. And I was suffering from depression back then. And it was very soothing activity to write music and expressing my feelings into music. And that's how I became composer.
Is that how you felt when you first fell in love with music? What was that first feeling? What's the first memory that you have of falling in love with music, and what kind of music was it?
I started with classical music, and I also liked pops and a bunch of dance music, a bunch of different kind of music. But then I was feeling a little bit limited to play other people's music. So when I was playing classical music, there are a lot of rules. Like you have to do this, you have to do this. I wanted to be free. I wanted to be more expressive about my music. So that's how I started writing my own music. So I think my first love was probably classical music.
Okay.
Yeah.
And who really inspires you to write the music that you write today?
I have my favorite composers, Niels Fram, who is a German pianist and a composer, and he plays all kinds of different instruments and a synthesizer, and very creative, and he's also a very good pianist. And also another artist called Apparat, who's another German composer, and he uses electronic music and acoustic music and then blend it very well and very creative. So yeah, those are two of my favorite.
So is it because they are so different in the way that they are composing? Why two German? Where did you find them, and why them? That's interesting.
Yeah, it is. I went through a lot of different artists, and I found it's kind of hard to make instrumental music distinguish, like it stand out from other music. It's like in instrumental music, all the music is kind of similar to each other. So like it's very hard to make your own unique voice. And then they're very good at like making it really special.
Yes.
And then that's what I want to do with my music too. So that's probably why.
A new, innovative sound.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. So what, other than classical music, what are some of the artists that are not doing instrumental but you've enjoyed? You said pop too. Are there some artists that you follow still to this day?
Oh yeah, I mean it kind of keeps changing when it comes to pops. Like I'm like not a very lawyer, but right now I really like the Scottish band called Churches.
Okay.
And they're actually coming to Boston in October too.
Oh,
so,
fantastic.
Yeah.
I always learn something new when I come on Ham Jam. So
but
thank
again,
you for sharing.
I'm moving around.
Yeah. Right. You don't need to stay loyal. I mean, all these influences are what make people so diverse and so interesting. So tell me a little bit about your background, because I know that you are a graduate of Berkeley.
Yes. Yeah.
So when did you start, and how do you feel that education changed your focus?
Oh, definitely. So I started Berkeley in 2009 and then graduated in 2012. And I also studied composition in Japan. So I studied for quite a long time, but I think the most important thing I learned from Berkeley was actually like meeting a lot of people from different countries. Of course, education's great, all the technical things we need to learn, but composition is more than just a technique. It's life. Like you need to explain, like experience. You need to explain like a lot of different things, and then meeting people, accepting other cultures. Those things really helps, and that's not what I could do in Japan because Japan's an island, so it's very different. It's like it's not very integrated with different races and different cultures. So that's definitely what I learned, and I really treasure that.
Yes. And tell me about that experience in Japan, because you're from Tokyo.
Yes.
So what, you say it wasn't very diverse, but how did that shape? Because I think all of the things that we experience in our life shape us in some way. So
exactly.
How did that experience either limit or fuel you to want to have that freedom?
Yeah, absolutely. Like both. I was probably feeling a little bit frustrated, or like I had a desire to see other side of the world the entire my life. Japan is a great country, very polite, but behind the politeness, there are a lot of rules, a lot of things that we have to obey. We kind of have to stay same with other people. So like being different from other people could be a bad thing over there. And I was always kind of weird person. And I didn't quite fit in.
Right.
So I always wanted to go outside of Japan. But then at the same time, if once you go far away from your home, it makes you really appreciate where you're from.
Yes.
And now I'm proud of being Japanese, and I'm proud of my country more than before. But I have probably a little bit mixed feelings about home. Like it was hard to live inside Japan for me.
Sure.
But then it's always nice to go home and visit and then perform and
Yes. Feeling that love of country. Yep. Well, it helped you to become who you are, whether it was something you wanted to run away from or embrace. Either
yes,
way.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we're going to come right back, and off camera we had a conversation about women in the music industry. So I would love to hear your experiences on that. It's very, very interesting. So stay with us, everybody. We'll be right back on Ham Jams. And that song was Nighttime by Marika Takeuchi. And we're back with Marika. Thank you so much again for being on Ham Jams.
Thank you.
So when we left in the last segment, we were talking about your experience in Japan as a woman, as a young girl and as a woman. What is the difference between that Japanese culture and now this American culture related to women and your experience being a female artist within America as well?
Yes, I think either countries being a female composer is a little bit of a challenge. I think it's everybody, if I say I'm a musician without saying I'm a composer, everybody think I'm probably a singer or pianist or someone who perform in front of people. When it comes to composer, since we are behind the scene, there's still very, very male-dominated field, and then it's sometimes female composers are not being taken seriously, or we will assume that we don't do much productions, and then the male producers are producing us.
Right, they're leading the way.
Yes. So that's something I definitely want to change, and I want to be inspiring other people to change how we are reflected. Yeah.
And how the perception of other people within that industry.
Yes.
It is typically a male-dominated industry, but composers like you are changing the way that people view, but it's going to take a while.
Yes,
right.
Definitely. Yes.
What are some tips that you could give to other females or young girls in the industry that has helped you to to accept that this is the way that it is, but not accept it so much that you can't change it? You're on a mission to make it better.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been thinking about this for my entire career, and I haven't found the perfect answer or advice. But what I have been trying to do is to find my unique voice. It's something that's like it's not really about the gender, but like I'm also Asian, which is another
factor.
Another factor that I have to deal with. Yeah. But then like whether you're female, male, or what kind of gender you identify yourself with, you need to stand out. You need to be really, really special, and like I don't know if it works, but that's what I'm trying to do. Like I don't have to write music that other guys are writing. Like I can be maybe more feminine because I'm female. So like I can write maybe sweeter music. I can be more exotic. Like I can use my background, like my Eastern influences in my music. So like I'm trying to figure out what is the thing that I can do, only I can do in my music. So that's probably something like maybe since we are minority in the field, we have to make more effort. Like it's like any industry. You've got to work 10 times harder to be noticed.
That's
definitely what I believe in. So I work hard.
Yes.
And we kind of have to keep evolving ourselves. We can't stay in the same music. So that's what I did with my album too, to transform my music to a next level. And that's something I hope it works.
It is working. You're such an amazing composer.
Thank you.
And your videos are incredible too, and people can find them on YouTube.
Yes.
And you've got social platforms like Instagram that people can follow you too. So I would encourage people to do that. So you have 5 albums, is that correct? And this is the fifth one? Yes. And it's called Melding.
Yes.
And I looked up that word, so I know the definition of it. As something coming together for a better creation or a creation of something new.
Yes.
But what does melding mean to you? Why did you select that name?
Yes.
And what's the purpose of this album for you?
Okay, so I call this album Melding because this is the mixtures of electronic and classical music. and Eastern and Western influences I have in my background, and then weaknesses, and then strengths, and everything that contrasts but coexists. And then our life is all about that, like our mixture of many things, and we can't just label people by, like a race or gender or whatever it is. That's easy to see. We are deeper than that, and then we are all mixed together. I wanted to encourage people to accept who we are and accept differences we have between us, and then it leads up to this thing that we can unite. Whatever the differences we have, we can definitely try to understand each other and then meld together. So that's
beautiful.
Yeah, that's the purpose of this album, and also the motivation for that. Yes.
Well, congratulations on this album. Yeah, I feel as though we all have these uniquenesses, and and this album really encourages us to accept what our uniqueness is and unites us within those differences. So congratulations.
Thank you.
You already have one of the singles that is out. There are a couple of others that are coming out soon, and the full album comes out very soon too.
Yes.
And where can people find the album?
Oh, iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify, Pandora, and all the major music services. And the physical CD is going to be available on my website.
Okay. Are you doing some performances coming up that we should know about?
I am still planning.
Okay.
Yes, definitely coming up.
Okay, and watch all your social platforms to find that out too, so people can follow you and be there and cheer you on.
Yes.
We're so inspired by your music, but also the direction that you're leading female composers. So thank you for leading the way.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, it's such a pleasure to have you on Ham Jams.
Same here. Thank you.
Yes. And when we go out, we are going to be listening to another beautiful song from the new album, Melding.